Do something real quick for you. I sent out a video a couple weeks ago regarding 4.7.00, what we're working on now, in regards to this loop service tab, and I got some feedback from people, some negative feedback as far as some of the things that they thought might make it harder for them. And so one of the things was on the old version 4. Which you currently have 4.6.19, you can kind of see the list of things that were completed, all at once, right? So you could just scroll through and you could see, like, for example, the last time an oil filter was changed, right, with that checkbox. So a couple of things we've done to overcome that issue. For example, now if you with this newer version, if you click on it, you'll see all the items that were completed over to the right. And one of the reasons we did that was because we've actually created the ability to have unlimited items be added to a loop service, not just the hard-coded items that you saw here before. Okay, so what we did was we added a couple of filters, and one of them is to show you will filter by the year completed. So if you choose that, and it'll show you the list of years in this next box over here on the right. It's not working properly right now, so I can't show you exactly how that part is working. So you'll be able to filter it by the list of years. So choose a year, and you'll just see the loop services for that year. Who accomplished it, so you can just see the loop services that were accomplished by a specific person or by an item. So if you wanted to just see the last time or all the times that an oil filter was changed. Let's see if this works without an error message. Hang on, let's try this. Okay, so now we can see the A service. So if I wanted to see the last time an oil filter was done on this particular piece of equipment, I could click that, and now I can see that was done here on 10/9. If we look over here on the right, you can see that the 10/9 one had an oil filter. So that's one quick way to search for a specific item to see when the last time it was done. The other thing we've added is over here we've added this thing called a wide view. Now this is similar to this view on 4.6.19, but it actually will go real wide because obviously before we had these things hard-coded in here, you didn't have to go any wider than just those items. So now, if you click on Wide View, it'll actually show all the items plus any extra items that you've added, and it bases the order of this based upon the template, because each loop service has its own template now. So now you can look at these all at once, like this, and just scroll through the list and just quickly scan and see what was done. Now this list will go out to about, I think it's about 40 or 50 items off to the right, and then once it fills that up, it'll start adding the items down here. It'll just add them as a text, just showing each individual extra item that might have been added that wouldn't fit up here at the top. Okay. And let's see, the other thing we're adding here, so I wanted to show you those things. Then you can choose the report and the wide view priority. So whichever template you want it to be based on, that's how this is going to line up first as far as which items are first. And the templates are, if we go up here to, well, if I just go back over here to the default view and open up a loop service, and then if I double click in the drop down here, you'll see that, like this 3,000 mile loop service, this is when you first get the new version from us, it's going to automatically have some default data, and it's going to pull in the old data. It'll fill it in with every item that we had, and then you can add your own items down below, and you can just add them on the fly, whatever items you want to add to this template, and then moving forward that template will be used when you create a new loop service of that type. And then this is the order that it will show in over here on the wide view. Alright, so it'll show up in that same exact order that it's in this template. Also, we have this Save as Template feature like we've done with the work orders. So when you create a new loop service, you can save it as a template. You can give it a name. If you give it the same name as the existing loop service that it is, it'll just update the template with all those new items. So the items that you add to it, to that, say the 3,000 mile one, will be added to the template. And then when you look at the template, all those items that you added will be showing up down below here. All right. And then let's see what else. Ability to print the loop service out. And that's just the single loop service, the current one selected. So the whole checklist will come out. And so if you've got this checklist, it'll actually go into columns. So it's not going to be just a single column. It'll be multiple columns depending on how many items that you've got in the list. So if it's a large list, before going to a second page, it's just going to fill up and add another column of items to check. Okay, to check off there. And let's see what else here. One other thing I wanted to show you real quick, and there's quite a few things that we're going to be doing here before I get this out the door to you. So one of the things is we're adding this out of service log. So this will allow you to choose a reason that a piece of equipment is out of service. You'll be able to enter in a beginning out of service date, a beginning out of service time, an ending out of service date, and an ending out of service time. And I'm going to probably change the times so that you don't have to type in the time to a drop down, 3 drop downs, one for hours of the day, so like 1 through 12, and then minutes of the day, so 1 through 60, and then it'll be AM or PM, so you'll be able to choose that for the time. And but now the way I have it showing here, so if I were to change this to say 4, so we have 2 hours there. Down below there, this is going to look a little differently, but we're working on it. So basically this shows you for this particular row, the total number of days, hours, minutes, and seconds, minutes and seconds and minutes. So that's kind of cool. And then we'll also have a report that shows you whatever date range, or for the entire piece of equipment, it'll show you all the out of service days, hours, and minutes. So that's one thing we're doing there, and so you'll be able to have it begin and stop, and this will just continue on as multiple rows for when the thing is out of service. And then we're going to have another report underneath more reports, so you can see out of service for your whole fleet if you want to, for every piece of equipment, or by customer if you want to. It'll group them by customer. And we're going to be moving this out of service over to the left here. We're adding a second out of service button to this out of service here is going to be for long term. So if this is checked here, then an out of service equipment will not show up in the reminder screen. But we still want, I think that's for like a long term out of service. So we're going to have a second out of service checkbox for short term. And that'll be, and you can use the log for either one, short term or long term. And the short term will just be for when it's, maybe in for maintenance, or it's just out of service for a few hours. You don't want it to pull it off of the reminder screen if something else needs to be done, like maybe a registration needs to be taken care of, or some other permit or something like that needs to be taken care of. You might not want to have it on a long term out of service. So that it will still show up on the reminder screen. So we're going to be adding that over here. We're going to move this button over here, move some of this stuff down. Some of these things, like the capital equipment purchase order number, gas card number, and the weights, we're going to bring those all over to miscellaneous details. And then we're going to add in engine serial number here. We're going to add in transmission. We're going to add in transmission serial number, and we're also going to add in we're going to add another tab for tools on board. So you'll be able to enter in, it'll just be a data sheet, kind of like the tires and wheels. So it'll be able to track the tools on board, what the name of the tool is, when it was checked in on board, when it began on board, when it ended on board, and the person that confirmed that or checked out by. And then we're also going to be adding in over here on this miscellaneous another sort of data sheet that will allow user-defined data. So you can basically put whatever you want in. It'll be a drop-down that you can create on the fly. So for example, if you had transmission number 2, and then you wanted to have the description of that transmission. So it'll be basically 2 fields, a drop-down and then a field that you'll be able to put some information in, whatever is related to that drop-down. So transmission number 2 and then the, Allison whatever, and then you could have transmission number 2 serial number, and then you could have the serial number next to it. So basically a way for you to enter in and capture more information and data about the vehicle or equipment that maybe you didn't have a place to keep in the past. So those are the few things we're working on, and hopefully those will be helpful for you. I don't know if you saw this before. I'll just go over a couple of more things real quick. Sorry it's taken so long. 90-day inspections. You can see here that, let me open this up. Okay, so we've added the ability to copy defective all the defective items to the needed maintenance and repairs if we want to. And then, or to create a new work order from the defective items. All right, so I'll just create a new work order. And you can also be able to add a new loop service while you're doing an inspection. So you don't have to leave this and go to the loop service tab. You can just click add loop service and complete a loop service at this point. And then over here on the work orders, if I open this up, and in here we're also going to have the ability to add a loop service. So we see these loop services that are currently added in the system. So a 10,001 in the past, a 3,001 in the past. We can just double click on that, and then you can add that 3,000 mile loop service, put an odometer and hours in. This will be captured if you had it filled in over on the right here in the work order, completed date, and accomplished by, no, we wouldn't have it accomplished by. So you have to fill that in. It's a drop down, or just fill it in. So hopefully that's just a quick little rundown. There's quite a few other things we're working on. So hopefully those will be helpful for you, and let me know what you think. Thanks. Take care. Hi, Mark here. Just wanted to do some